everything will be okay in the end. And if it's not okay, it's not the end yet. The horrors are still here, so I guess it's not the end. Welcome back to RPG Horror Stories, where I go on Reddit so you don't have to! Another week, yet the horrors persist. Doesn't matter which way the pendulum is swinging for you, at least we can take a second to relish in some schadenfreude. So, just to explain to those who do not know how this works, we are going to r/RPG Horror Stories and picking the top few from this week, reading them out loud, and then at the end of it, we are cleansing our mind and regaining some faith in humanity with an RPG GloryStory. You excited? I'm excited. Let's jump in. This first story is titled, Player Deliberately Designed Character to Break the Group. You know, I don't mind, broken characters, but if it's intentionally meant to disrupt other people's fun, I don't like that. Let's do it. Let me start by saying I firmly believe it's the player's responsibility to create characters who are able to function in a group and come up with in-character reasons to not screw over or murder other characters, even if they are of different alignment, worldview, fictional species, opposed character classes, to prevent inter-player conflict. So true. Right off the bat, I already have, a deep personal connection to this because I had to deal with a player recently that was a murder hobo main character syndrome. So, it's totally fine if the goal is to have an undercover character, secretly evil character in a group of good characters, or mage hunter in a group of spellcasters, or D&D paladin who is taught tieflings and all fiend-tainted monsters, etc., whose real identity is unknown to the other characters. If the player and the GM have already planned an arc of character growth where said character will evolve to gain redemption through friendship or learn that not all members of the group X are wicked, that can lead to very satisfying roleplay. But a player deliberately creating a character with the clear intention to hamstring or harass other characters to break the group? No. I could not agree more. I get it. Okay, listen, come here, okay? I understand that you want to create the underdog, dark and broody rogue who trusts no one and never teams up, and nobody can report your crime if there are no witnesses. But that's not what D&D is about. It's not. It's a group collaborative storytelling experience. That's what it is. Notice how the two words group and collaborative are in there. It just drives me up the wall when people go in there and expect to get away with something like that. You know what I mean? I've actually seen this thing happen back in the late 1990s in a GURPS fantasy campaign via online text chat room, in the days prior to video voice call software. We were all in our 20s. We all knew each other from a fantasy club. The group happened to be comprised of almost entirely of different kinds of magic users. Sorcerer-like spellcasters, a healer herbalist, a mystic swordsman, all heavily relying on magic. It was totally coincidence, as we, the players, the majority of whom were female, including me, had created our characters independently from each other. The male GM allowed us a lot of freedom to use various GURPS rulebooks, with the only requirements that the character had to fit in a medieval-ish fantasy setting and had to have a reason to travel from A to B through the wilderness. Only exception from the magic user front was my character, a ghoul from Lovecraft's Dreamland stories. Note, Lovecraft's ghouls are humanoid species, alive, not undead, who wore a magical illusion amulet to appear as a middle-aged, balding human guy, so he wouldn't get lynched while living among humans, and pretending to be a traveling tanner and furry, I don't think that's the word you meant to type there, I think it's furrer. Yeah, he was a tanner and he was a traveling furry. You know what I mean? Just, I think a lot of those guys nowadays are running the con circuit. And pretended to be a traveling tanner and fur to explain away his slight carrion smell he had despite him using strong-smelling herbs. He actually did have those craftsman skills, mind you. But our group was chill with having weird character backgrounds. That wasn't a problem. Alright, so just, it all coming together now is, there are a bunch of spellcasters, they have weird backgrounds, everybody created independently with each other, and they're all vibing, you know? I love the spread. I love a diverse party when it comes to a D&D campaign. Granted, strategically, it works out because, you need a healer, you need a tank, you need a DPS, you need a glass cannon, and overlapping in that ways works a majority of the time, but sometimes it doesn't. So I like the spread. Who the hell's gonna come in here? The other players knew my character was not human, but were curious about him. And the ghoul was such an amiable, unassuming guy. When the other travelers eventually found out he carried a preserved human brain in his backpack, because while he could eat normal food, he preferred carrion and needed a snack on sentient creatures' brains once a month. And saw his real face and that he had long, digging claws like giant ground sloth, everyone just shrugged and went, "So, Gerard is a hairless, hyena-faced creature of the old gods who can dig tunnels on record time, and who, on occasion, eats brains of hanged criminals? Yeah, I don't care. He's a nice guy. Let's help him maintain his cover identity when we meet people." Now, the problem when some sessions in, another player from the extended friends group wanted to join the already full group. I didn't personally know her, but she was an acquaintance of the GM. He allowed it. But right from the first session, which introduced her character, we knew it was going to be problematic. Her character was a weird, waifish, white-haired, ghost, pale, skinny, fae-like girl with pearly white eyes and total amnesia, clad in thin white gown, whom we found lying in a plinth in a creepy tower in the middle of the wasteland, with a weird amulet around her neck she couldn't take off. Fuck. Yeah, honestly, like, I've definitely seen that probably in like fan fictions I read when I was 11, written by other 11-year-olds. It's such a cliche, and I don't mind cliches, but when it's like, this definitely seems like it's going towards the place of this person thinks that they are so creative and so original with their idea, and everybody needs to get on board with it, when really there are 50 other pale-skinned, white-haired, fae-touched girls with bright eyes in a white gown with amnesia with an amulet hanging around their neck. Like, honestly, just Google on any fanfiction website. I'll bet you find that character. Amnesic fae goth girl was utterly unable to care for herself, but for some plot reason, we were forced to take her with us, because prophecy or whatever, and the swordsman was tasked to protect her. Worse, amnesic fae goth girl constantly emitted an anti-magic zone around herself within a radius of several meters. What? Why would the GM allow that? What? Literally everybody was a spellcaster. Everybody in the party is a spellcaster. And the person you're supposed to protect you can't get near. You can't use your abilities with. Don't like this. This is a joint operation. Not merely as a penalty to all magic casting. Nope, 100% no magic zone where spells, magic items like swords and amulets, and supernatural powers didn't work. I'm sure you can spot the problem here. Definite problem here. Huge problem here. Either the GM is ignorant or stupid. Like, that's basically what it comes down to with this one. Like, I get it. Challenge your players. Challenge your players. But don't take away all their abilities, you know? Like, take away some of them, a little bit at a time. Maybe you've been going a little bit too easy on them. And maybe you face an anti-magic zone inside one fight. But putting that one system in place for, what I can see, an extended period of the campaign? No. No. For some unfathomable reason, the GM had allowed this, assuming he had seen the character sheet prior to introducing the character. This means we could not leave her behind, despite several of us, me included, secretly telling the GM in private messages that we saw no logical in-character reason to drag this creature with us. And Problem Player did everything to make life difficult for our characters, which quickly resulted in most of the playing time revolving around her character, and our attempts to work around her stupid anti-magic aura. Yet the GM refused to ask her to make a new character or kick her from the group, because he desperately wanted to not exclude anyone. People-pleasing is a major problem. It's a major problem. I was a people-pleaser once upon a time. Now, I don't care, because it is a kindness to displease people. And I'm going to repeat that. It is a kindness to displease people. Because if they are causing more problems than solutions, It's not worth it to have them in your life. Like that, it comes down to that. And yeah, like I said before, either the GM is ignorant or stupid. Like it's harsh language, but it's true. Ignorant, stupid, or a people pleaser. You know? How could he not have the foresight to see how this would be a problem? Like, in an established campaign, he put in a main character, right? He willingly put in a main character. So why would he do that? It ended with us, the original group, telling the GM we would be leaving the campaign as it had become nearly unplayable, annoying, and no longer fun. Shame. We had really liked our characters. I wasn't even angry at the GM. He was simply too gentle for his own good. People pleaser. Then, a short while later, I got a PM from one of the other players, who told me she had heard through the grapevine that the player of Amnesic Anti-Magic Fae Girl had proudly remarked that she had created that character specifically to break the group. What the fuck? That makes me so angry that somebody came in here specifically to break the group. Having a character that is like, you know, they said it earlier. OP said it earlier in this post. That is like a secret agent, you know? Like, they're evil, they're plotting against the group, they're a sleeper agent, something like that, you know? And you work with your DM on it, and you have a plan to have a character arc where they have a revelation, and they decide not to follow through with the evil deed they've been plotting this entire time. That's fine. If you built a character who is set in their ways and has no plan to ever become, for lack of a better term, useful, you know? Don't do that. Do not do that. That puts unneeded stress on the party, it puts unneeded stress on the GM, and it makes the game not fun for everybody else. You are the only person playing that game at that point in time. The rest of them are just sitting there while they watch your one-player story. Don't do that. Off with a bang. On to the next. This next one is titled, Unexpected Paladin Really Likes to Fight the Warlock's Patron, causing real-life disruptions that forced me to completely remake the direction of the plot. Very light horror. Talk about a TLDR in the title. Let's see where this goes. I have been running an in-person 5e game for a group of 5 players for some time. The only players who matter, other than me, the DM, I will call Guy, Lady, and Warlock. The group had been meeting up to play pretty irregularly. This is partially due to people's schedules, but mainly due to difficulties reserving a space to play at the local friendly game store reliably. In the game, we had been doing stuff tied to the Warlock's backstory, Pact of the Fiend Warlock. And so, the party has been interacting a lot with his patron. I decided to do a voice for the patron, think simple country lawyer, but really high and nasally. And it was a big hit with the party. Everyone was joking and doing their best impressions of the patron. At the same time, Guy and Lady, who are a couple, got a new dog, an absolutely adorable English bulldog puppy. Cut to the last month, Guy and Lady, being lovely people, decide to set aside space for us to play at their house so that we can play more reliably. This led to an unintended problem, though. Alright, we've set up the plot, we've set up the characters. Where's this going? When they got their puppy, Lady had been using the patron voice a lot because it was on everyone's mind at the time, including when she would play fight with the new puppy. This has led to them using patron voice with the puppy whenever they were playing with him. Now, the little guy thinks that whenever he hears the voice, the person talking wants to play, and he attacks them, including me as the DM. What am I supposed to do? Not play with the puppy? That's impossible. So the only solution was to adjust. Guy jokingly said that Gnoll paladins hate the patron and would attack them on sight, and this got adapted into canon of the game. Whenever the patron would contact the party, he would only speak to the party until the gnolls found him and he fled, aka the puppy attacked me using the voice. I like that. What's happening? This is a great story so far. I love this. Oh god. So now the party is on a journey to rescue the patron from this mysterious knightly order of gnolls. And that's the direction the game is going in. I had a whole storyline written up, and now I just have to scrap. But I guess that's just the price I must pay. This was so nice. I was waiting for the foot to drop. This was a good story all around. I love this. This was so nice. It was so... I was sitting here like tense the entire time. I was like, oh my god, is somebody gonna hit the dog? Is somebody gonna take the play fight too far? It's like, what's gonna happen here? I'm just trying to figure out what'll happen. No, this is beautiful. Unexpected Paladin really likes to fight the Warlock's patron. The dog is the Paladin. Oh my god, I love that so much. I love that so much. Sometimes things like this just take you off guard and you really enjoy it. Getting attached to like a voice definitely is fun. Like I've got my kobold artificer named Humph that everybody really likes, and he kind of sounds like Stitch but a little lower. And yeah, that's amazing. I love that so much. On to the next. This next one is titled, Am I Being Petty Over Some Dice? Listen, as a former dice goblin, and probably future dice goblin once I can get more dice, initial thoughts are, no. Let's see what happens. I had to kick out a player from my group, which is not the main focus of this post. The main focus is the aftermath. I wrote to them that I would like the dice set that I lent them, since they didn't have one, back. And they answered with, I still think you're in the wrong, so you can have your dice back over a reasonable discussion about what happened, and only if you come to your sense. Oh, no, screw that. No. Unless they're like gemstone dice or metal dice or something like that, nah, keep it. Get out of here. I answered that with, I won't change my mind. I already took the decision, and everyone in the group agrees with me, so I just want my dice back. He answered with, I didn't sign a legal contract. Oh, I just snapped. Those dice didn't cost much, but it's the principle. Am I being petty, or am I in the right if I just want the dice back without having to overview my decision that I already said it's definitive? Edit, I decided to just move on. Losing a set of €1 dice is a good price to pay to never have any more contact with such a person. Listen, I understand, like, because if trying to formulate my sentences here, it's the principle of the thing. It comes down to that, right? The principle of the thing. But come on, like, I'm very proud of OP. The person they're dealing with sounds like a Class A manipulator. Like, straight up, full honesty. I've seen it before. I'll see it happen again. That is their, like, focus. Like, chances are, I'm just assuming here, but the person that they're talking about was probably being a shitty player and probably has abusive tendencies. Just throwing that out there. But to anybody who thinks that they can fix someone, learn the signs of a manipulator. Like, look up videos, read books, educate yourself. I'm very proud of OP. And I'm very glad that they decided to just let it go and just cut it off, you know? Oh my god, is there, like, anything in the comments about it? Yeah, it's kind of against my mentality of never lying or manipulate. Also, it seems like they would only give me back my dice if I change my mind. I think I'll just have to let those dice go. Yeah. I mean, it seems like, the D&D players, badge and gun. No, you're off the force. Please turn in your dice and your character sheet. Fine, but you can take me off the force, but you can't take the force out of me. Yeah, that sort of deal. Oh man, that sucks. All right, so we had some short horror stories today. And honestly, one of them wasn't a horror story. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a second and cleanse our mind at the end of this video with an RPG glory story. For those of you who do not know what an RPG glory story, it is the opposite of a horror story. That second one was kind of an example of a glory story. It's where things go right, where a plan goes off exactly how it's supposed to, or goes off not how it's supposed to, but in a great way. Something funny happens, but not at the expense of others. That sort of deal. And for this, we are going to r/RPG GloryStories. and picking one from there. This one is titled, My Dice Thought I Should Die. My wife's didn't. Come in clutch with the partner's dice 100% of the time. Let's go. After killing one of the BBEG subordinates, the guy decided he's going to use self-destruct like a Pokemon on his last legs and take us down with him. While the explosion doesn't outright kill anyone, it does knock down our rogue though. He gets back up fairly quickly with some magical healing touches. The explosion also, 1, causes the giant basement laboratory we're in to begin collapsing and exploding, and 2, releases a bunch of gaunt, gangly armed creatures from their cells to come get us. So, naturally, we start booking it for an exit. Anything will do. We walk up the fallen catwalk, jump over a small hole, and then a pillar falls down and crashes into the upper wall ceiling, revealing sunlight. The pillar can be climbed like a tree. An escape! We're saved! Well, almost all of us are saved anyway. My poor level 3 sorcerer has -1 athletics. With nothing but rolls of 5s and 6s, he ain't climbing nothing. I hate it when that happens. Just when you need the dice the most, they fail you. Some dice deserve more than dice jail. So the rest of the party skips up the pillar while I'm struggling to make even basic progress. The monsters are getting closer. The world is filling with what we started referring to as Magitech jizz. It immediately evoked an image in my mind. That's a great descriptor. And it seems quite certain that the Xeris Denari tiefling sorcerer is about to die. Cue our party's ranger, my in-real-life wife, by the way, rolling an 18 on acrobatics to slide 20 feet down the pillar like she's surfing, a 17 to grab Xeris' collar and grab the rope thrown down by the party, and an 18 to hold on for dear life as the party starts pulling them up. That's sick as all hell. That is so sick. Like, the visual that just invoked in my mind, everything is crashing down around you, crumbling, fire exploding, Magitech jizz rising up. The sorcerer about ready to die, and then all of a sudden, the ranger goes down, surfs down the thing, grabs the character, grabs the rope, and just hangs on for dear life as the rest of the party pulls up. Beautiful, cinematic, amazing, A1. Steak sauce. Sure enough, once they're 10 feet away from the exit hole, the entire lab explodes, sending both our characters through the hole to safety. She even stuck the landing, whereas clumsy-ass Xeris flopped on his face. Probably the most epic moment of the game so far, and even one of the most epic moments I've seen in any game I've played in. I'm still buzzing from the after-game high, honestly. That is beautiful. It's moments like that you will be talking about with your fellow party members for years and years and years to come. It's like, we did maximum like terminal velocity damage in one of my campaigns when I was starting out. And so terminal velocity, by the way, for those that don't know, I don't exactly play with it anymore just because of what I did in this moment. But terminal velocity is 10d6. That is the maximum amount of damage you can take. Right? And from there, we were in the top of a wizard's tower. We had just killed the wizard. He activated a self-destruction switch on the tower, so the tower started crumbling. Everybody was finding, like, ways to go out. They were teleporting. They were misty stepping, or was it Dimension Door? Either Dimension Door or Misty Step. I can't remember. People were flying out of there, and they're like, Brett, what are you doing? And I'm like, how far up are we? And he said, we're about 200 feet in the air. And I went, I jump out the window. And he's like, you jump out the window? And I said, yeah, maximum damage is 10d6. That's at max 60 damage. So I'm just going to jump out the window and try to minimize damage as much as I can with an, it wasn't tumbly, a tumble check, 3.5. And jumped out of the window, landed on the floor face first with a kind of a roll, and then got up and continued running, and everybody was looking at me. Epic moment. Loved it. We live for those moments. I'm very happy that this happened, and it made me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Fantastic. Those were some great stories, and I'm very glad you were here with me while I was reading them. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this, please like and subscribe. Leave in the comments which of these stories was your favorite or least favorite, depending on how you're looking at things. Also, check out the other videos on my channel. I've got plenty of Reddit stories. I've got things if you're looking for homebrew, tips for new DMs, tips for new players, all those sort of things. And I'm going to have more videos coming out in the future. One of them is sitting behind me right now, kind of doing a build right now. So, figured I'd share that. But nonetheless, I really appreciate you being here. And until those videos, I will say Auf Wiedersehen, tschüss, and I will catch you in the next one.